Hey, how you doing? Adrian here with bestformyfeet.com. Welcome to this video in which we're gonna talk about how I got rid of the athlete's foot fungus. This is an update of the previous videos I did where I tried the 3% hydrogen peroxide and then I used the 6% hydrogen peroxide in order to get rid of the athlete's foot fungus. I'm gonna leave you links in the description if you want to check out those videos, but let me save you some time and tell you that it didn't work for me. I've tested both products for about 3 weeks in total, and as I said, it didn't work for me, and now was the time for me to look for other solution, other product, other home remedy, whatever, in order to get rid of this athlete foot fungus, because it was getting a little bit annoying, a little bit painful, as the skin was cracking in some places. And I said to my wife, please go to the store and buy anything that says it's good for athlete's foot fungus. So she came back with this Cota or Cota cream. I'm not sponsored by this company or anything. It's just that it worked for me, and I simply want to share with you. I mean, I wish I had a product that I could, promote to you and get some commissions, but I make no money out of this. It's just, even if I would make some money, I would not recommend it to you if I would not use it myself. Anyway, let's get into it. What I'm gonna show you next is probably an overkill. Maybe you don't need to do all these things, but since I was getting a little bit, like I said, upset because of the pain was causing and the stress was causing the athlete's foot fungus, I decided to throw everything at it and make sure I get rid of it once and for all. So step one, before going to work, or even if you're gonna use other footwear, I would use the cream to apply it in between the toes, especially in between the toes and under the toes, but I would apply it everywhere for the first couple of days, and I mean in between the toes, under the toes, on top of the toes, on the sole of the foot as well, basically trying to make sure that I'm covering every single part of my feet with this cream. As soon as I'm done with the cream, I would apply some antifungal powder as well, again on top of my feet, in between the toes, under my feet, because this is great for absorbing moisture and reduce sweat, which is what this fungus loves to eat. Additionally, I put a little bit into the socks as well and inside the work boots, and this last part actually became a habit. I don't apply the cream anymore daily, but I do apply the powder every single day religiously, in order to keep my feet dry, avoid stinky feet as much as I can, and also preventing the fungus from coming back. Alright, step two. If you want to get rid of the athlete's foot fungus, you really have to make a deep clean of your feet. And for this step, I'm just going to show you what I used. I used, for example, a regular soap. Now that I'm thinking about it, I could use an antifungus soap for the future. Don't use sponges or scrubby dub like my daughter called it. I'm using this multi-purpose feet pedicure tool that comes with foot scrubber, pumice stone, foot rasp, sandpaper. Is really good because this the hairs of the brush can penetrate in between the cracks of the feet that are caused by the athlete's foot fungus, and it makes a much deeper cleaning than using a sponge. And lastly, I would spray some 3% hydrogen peroxide on my feet after I've done washing. Yes, it didn't work to get rid of the athlete's foot fungus, but what I've discovered in the previous videos by using this solution is that my feet stop stinking. So I'm gonna keep using it for that purpose. Excellent. Step 3 would be to dry properly your feet, and especially between your toes and under your toes. And I'm using a hair dryer because most of the times you will not be able to dry it properly just by using a towel. Right after that, it's time to moisturize our feet, and I just use any cream that I had at home. I had this Vaseline, but at times I've used Nivea as well. Anything that says it's good for dry skin, just apply it before you go to sleep, as this is going to moisturize the skin, and slowly the cracked and dried skin is going to disappear. Next morning, as I'm enjoying a nice coffee on the balcony, I would use again the multi-purpose pedicure tool. This time I would use the sandpaper, and this is great because I would use this in order to smoothen the skin. This is kind of like construction. I'm a construction guy. This is like applying plaster and leave it to dry. Next day you go and sand it down in order to make it smoother. So this is kind of the same thing. As I was doing these steps I'm sharing here with you today, I would see less and less signs of athlete's foot fungus. My feet would not stink anymore. My feet would not itch anymore as before. And because of that, I started to proceed with taking care of repairing the skin. Because as I said already a few times, cracked skin on your heels, on your feet, it not only looks bad, especially in summer if you wanna wear sandals, flip-flops and all that, but also bacteria and fungus live in those cracks. So we need to get rid of them as soon as possible. Something interesting I realized while I was using these creams, I've used this type of creams before, but I didn't pay attention to this detail. But what happens is that when you apply this cream, it creates kind of like a layer on top of your skin or something like that that will stop you from sweating. I guess it just covers the pores of the skin, I guess, because I realized that when I apply this cream, my feet do not sweat at work. So I come back home with my feet almost dry. Of course, there's some sweat, there's some heat in my boots because you're working, your body is hot, the boots are getting hot and all that. But my feet would not sweat, and of course, this is great for keeping your feet dry, for avoiding stinky feet, for preventing the athlete's foot from coming back. The only con is that once you apply this cream, your feet will become slippery. Especially when I was wearing my slip-on work boots. When I had my lace-up work boots, it wasn't that bad. Having said that, applying this type of cream became also a habit before I go to work, because I really liked the fact that my feet don't sweat. Plus, the skin always look good and healthy. And that's it. It took me about 3 weeks to do all this process at the time I'm making the video. In the first week of using the cream, I've seen massive improvements. My skin stopped itching in between the toes and under the toes. I didn't have any more rashes. But as all podiatrists recommend, do not stop just because you've seen some improvements. You have to carry on about another 2-3 weeks just to make sure the fungus is gone completely. And then you have to maintain. You have to still applying the cream like I do once per week, twice per week. You still need to use the antifungal powder to put it in your socks, to put it in your boots. And on top of that, I have a few more recommendations for you. First, I recommend you start using merino wool socks. I've just discovered this type of socks, and I'm almost 40 years old, and they are great for absorbing moisture and sweat. I also recommend you having at least 2 pair of work boots or shoes, whatever you wear for your work, and that's because you can alternate between the boots. If you don't have budget for 2 or 3 pair of work boots or shoes, whatever you use for your work, the next best thing is to have 2 or 3 pair of insoles, which is going to help you achieve almost the same thing. Now, when you work, when you have your feet in your boots, you're gonna sweat. Of course, there's moisture in there, and the first layer, if you want, is your socks. So your socks is going to absorb some of that, but the next one is the insole. So if you have a few pair of work boots, you can rotate between your boots, and if you don't have that, you have insoles. you can do the same thing, rotate between your insoles. You can wear a nice dry clean insole while you take out the old one, you wash it, you leave it to dry, and then just repeat the cycle. One more thing I recommend you, I cannot recommend you enough, I should say, is to get yourself a boot dryer. Every time I come back from work, I would take my boots off, take the insoles out, and put the boots to dry, even if it's just sweat. Next morning, the boots are nice and dry, not allowing any chance for the athlete's fungus to reappear or to develop. I'm not sure when you're gonna watch this video, but I'm gonna leave you a link in the description to an article which is probably a little bit more in depth than the video and more updated, so make sure you check out the comment section when the article is ready and published. I'll drop the link in the comment section below or the description. That's all from me. I hope this was helpful. I'm Adrian from bestformyfeet.com. If you have any questions, please let me know. See you in the next video. Bye bye.